Microphone.
Yes, no problem. It's a beautiful day out there. That's okay.
Right. Yeah, you're close anchors, aren't you? You know what? Yeah, 5 years ago, I was just reading an email from Ray and how people wanted to help. Sometimes they could, sometimes they couldn't. People have so many memories from the flood of 2013, and you guys are going to do your best to share some of those.
We'll definitely be tackling the overall picture and where we're at 5 years later, what worked and how people pitched in, what didn't work. The mayor talking today about the lengths that we have to go to be able to repair some of the damage that was done and some of the communication that happened and what we can do to improve it. So we will tackle the big picture.
And, you know, the mayor talked about how resilient this city has been, but Tony Ty has a really neat story about individual homeowners and what they have done to make their homes more resilient. We talked to one gentleman who's in Bowness, going to extraordinary lengths. His foundation was destroyed, and so to rebuild, they moved the house into the backyard, replaced the foundation, and then moved it back, but this time 6 feet higher. Also, we'll check in on a condo complex in Discovery Ridge that they were partially submerged. So the board went on to collect over $2 million from the 500 or so owners of this condo unit. They moved heating boilers upstairs, raised the outside air vents. Seems like an immense undertaking to make those changes. But if you're in an area that could be in what's considered a danger zone, you know, you want to be prepared in case this does ever happen again.
Well, I'm always amazed when you hear of people who are saying, I'm still staying here. I love where I live, and I'll make the changes to protect myself in the future. And
we're not alone. Jill Croteau is going to tackle some of the communities outside of Calgary, of course, with southern Alberta. To your point, people who love their communities want to stay in their communities. Bragg Creek still vulnerable, High River, and what they're going through. So we will tackle the rest of the province as well that was hit so hard.
We're also going to have Mayor Naheed Nenshi on. I know he's been out in the press today, making the rounds, talking to everybody about this event 5 years later. We're going to chat a little bit about one thing that really stood out was the community spirit and how people really pulled together to help each other's neighbors. We all saw those stories. We heard those stories of people grabbing a bucket or a washcloth or food or whatever you needed to do and going to help strangers or your neighbors. And that ended up becoming Neighbor Day, right, that we're celebrating now. So that's a positive outcome of that incredible spirit that we know Calgarians have always had. We were just really tested at that time.
I love the fact that we're here right at the confluence of the Bow and the Elbow, because 5 years ago this would have been submerged. Just to the east of us, we've got the Calgary Zoo, and we know the experiences that they had and the memories that they had from that as well. So there's a lot of people who are amazed that they were able to get through with the animals that they saved, and all the stories that came out of the Calgary Zoo as well.
There were so many stories of rescues, and I think they were closed down for several months, right, where they had to clean all that mud and debris and everything. So we also talked to a curator from the zoo who talks about what that experience was like and some of the incredible stories of so many volunteers or members, people who came forward to try and help save the animals, and for the most part they did. They lost some fish, I think, but for the most part they did quite well with protecting those animals.
To your point, isn't it surreal? Like it's stunning down here. It's gorgeous down here, and so much has changed down here. A couple of new bridges, new pathways, lots of people down here using it. It is surreal to think of where this was 5 years ago.
Where it was, exactly. Linda.